I used to work the overnight shift at a 24-hour supermarket just outside a small town in Pennsylvania. This was back in 2019, before I moved out to the West Coast. I was 21 at the time, saving money for school, and this job fit my schedule. Boring, quiet, and I could listen to music on my breaks. But after what happened during my final week there, I haven't stepped into a supermarket at night since. The store itself wasn't anything special. Mid-sized chain, about a dozen aisles, a deli section that shut down by 9 p.m., and a stockroom in the back that always smelled like cardboard and bleach. We had 3 people scheduled overnight: me, a guy named Tony, who mostly handled stock, and Marcy, who worked the front register. Occasionally, a manager named Dennis would show up for audits, or if the corporate office was breathing down his neck, but otherwise we were left alone. That week started like any other. Monday night was dead, which was normal. A few truckers came through for energy drinks and beef jerky, and one older guy who always bought the same 2 things, a scratch-off ticket and a single can of tuna. But Tuesday night was the first time I noticed something strange. I was restocking the dairy section around 3 a.m. when I noticed a guy standing at the end of the aisle. Not walking, just standing. Still. He had his back to me, and he was looking down the frozen food section like he was trying to remember what he came for. I figured maybe he was tired or high or just indecisive. I said, "Hey man, you good?" as I wheeled my cart toward him. He didn't move. When I got closer, I realized he wasn't even facing the food. He was staring directly at the closed freezer door. No cart, no basket, just standing there in a black hoodie and jeans, his hood pulled up. He still hadn't moved or acknowledged me. Something about him made the hair on my arms stand up. Not because he was acting threatening, but because he wasn't acting at all, like he was frozen. Then I blinked, and I swear to God, when I opened my eyes, he was gone. I walked around the corner thinking maybe he moved quickly while I blinked, but there was no one there. I walked all the way to the end of the aisle. Still nothing. I even asked Marcy at the register if she saw someone leave. She shook her head, said no one had come or gone in the last 10 minutes. I tried to brush it off, but I couldn't shake it. It felt like he'd just vanished, like he was never really there. Wednesday night, things escalated. Around 2:30 a.m., Tony came up to me in the cleaning supplies aisle and asked if I'd been in the stockroom lately. I told him no, I'd been out on the floor all night. He looked weird, like unsettled. Then he said, "I swear to God, I saw someone walk into the back a few minutes ago, but when I went to check, no one was there." We both went back there together. The door was still swinging slightly like someone had just gone through it. But the stockroom was empty. All the lights were off. We searched the area. Nothing. Marcy told us to check the security footage later, just to be sure. But when Tony and I pulled up the footage from that camera, we saw the door open by itself. No one on screen. No shadows. No movement. Just the door slowly creaking open. By Thursday, I was actively creeped out. But I needed the paycheck. That night, just after 4 a.m., I went to clean the walk-in freezer in the back. I kept the door propped open with a rubber wedge, like we were supposed to in case the lock jammed. About 10 minutes in, I felt something shift in the air. I turned around and saw the wedge wasn't there. The door slammed shut. Hard. Total darkness. No light, no sound, just the thumping of my heart and my breath fogging in front of me. I pounded on the door, shouting for help. After what felt like 5 minutes, Tony opened it. I stumbled out shivering and pissed off. I asked him if he moved the wedge. He swore he never touched it. Said he hadn't even come back there until he heard the banging. We checked the security footage again. This time, we watched the rubber wedge slide slowly out from under the door, like it had been pulled. Friday was my last shift. I had already decided I was quitting after that night. It just wasn't worth the paycheck anymore. Around 1 a.m., we had a power flicker. Not unusual during storms, but the sky was clear. Lights went off for about 2 seconds, then popped back on. except the monitor at the customer service desk. It stayed off. I went over to reboot it, and when the screen came back, the feed from the deli camera was already playing, except it wasn't live. It was footage from earlier that night, about an hour before I even started my shift. The screen showed the empty deli area. Then a man walked in. Same black hoodie, same jeans, same guy from the freezer aisle. Except this time, he looked up at the camera and smiled. Then he turned and walked into the deli cooler. The feed ended, just cut out. I sprinted to the deli section. Everything was quiet. But when I opened the cooler door, the room was freezing, and there was a fresh trail of wet footprints leading from the doorway to the back wall. But there weren't any exits or vents there, just solid tile. I quit that morning, didn't even clock out. I left a note for Dennis, left my badge and vest, and drove straight home. A few weeks later, I checked the local news out of curiosity. No missing persons reports, no accidents at the store, nothing that matched what we saw. But I did find one strange article from 2003. A man had been found dead in the back freezer of a different grocery store in town, locked in overnight. No signs of struggle, just a malfunctioning latch and a tragic accident. The part that stuck out? His name was never released. But the article mentioned that he'd been wearing a black hoodie and jeans,